Hello and welcome to Clear Waters, where the waters are clear. This is your channel, not mine. Tonight, we're going to be talking about our testimonies of God, evidence for God. We'll find out. We'll analyze this information a little bit, a different perspective. Because normally when people supposedly give evidence for a God, in my case, I normally suspect that probably a person is adjusting the story a little bit, make it sound more fantastic. Maybe they're telling the truth, maybe not. But this is a topic that we can talk about. Because it is my view, in case you don't know it, that it's a problem for humanity to be believing in gods. So we're analyzing our testimonies of God, evidence for God. Welcome to this live stream. I'm gonna check real quick my audio. Yes, I'm live streaming on both vertical and horizontal streams. And of course, there's a link at the bottom of the screen and also on the chat that you can call in and give your testimony. We can hear your testimony, and probably, if you don't mind, I would like to analyze it. So let's jump to this short presentation about our testimonies of God, evidence for God. Let's lower the volume and let's go with what I normally hear from believers in God, what they tell me. Of course, these are short versions because normally they're gonna tell you a story of, 5-10 minutes long story. So, for example, I hear things like, God gave me a new heart. The God of the universe gave me a new heart. Wow. Also, I hear normally, God revealed himself to me. I don't know if they mean like, or they mean the other revealed, which is a different revealed. Let me check my audio. It sounds a little bit distorted. There you go. That's better. So this is what I normally hear. God did it. What else do I hear? God show me. I don't know. Also, I hear God prove himself to me, the immutable God that is not bound by time, is out of space, came down and proved himself to a human being. Also, I hear God save me from XYZ, whatever you want to put after that. And of course, I heard this one yesterday. God miraculously provided an airplane ticket. Magically appear in my hand. I don't know about that one. But of course, there are plenty of other stories about people feeling things and they come to the conclusion that it was the God of Israel that did that. Whatever they felt, it was the God of Israel. Whatever change they had in their life, it was the God of Israel. How do they come to that conclusion? I don't know. So let's analyze a little bit what these believers giving testimonies could be coming from. Let's show you different possibilities about this supposed testimonies of the most powerful being in the universe. A believer could be doing, among other things, these 4 points. Number 1, they could be just lying about their testimony. I hear people doing it all the time, giving these fantastic, exaggerated stories. Like God opened a rose in front of me. God or Jesus wrote on my head or my forehead the word so and so. Of course, many of these stories are lies. Probably all of them. Maybe, maybe not. Number 2, the believer giving this testimony might be just confused. They genuinely experienced something, but they misunderstood what happened. You know, maybe they came from church and they were inspired by the music, you know, and something happened and that was the Lord of Israel that did this miracle or something. I don't know. They might be confused. Number 3, they could be deceived or just mistaken. I don't know. They genuinely believe the experience was from God, but something else caused it. So they could be wrong about something that they could swear are right. It happens all the time. And number 4, among other things, they could be telling the truth. God actually exists and caused the experience. Now the question is, how in the world are we going to find out? How? Let me open my mouth bigger. How? How? You could be just lying. You could be making this story up. You could be confused. You could be mistaken. And you could be right. How can we determine that? But Javier, clear waters, that's my experience, my personal experience with God. I don't have to convince you. Then why are you telling me about your story and your testimony? What for? Keep it to yourself. You're telling that story to everybody you meet. Many times, over and over. I think there's something else, other reason you're telling other people your supposed testimony. So, if you don't want anybody questioning your supposed experience with God, don't be telling anyone. You're going to encounter people that think you're lying. Because, coincidentally, you cannot prove anything. You could be lying. You could be right. You could be mistaken. You could be confused. I don't know about you, but I notice a pattern when it comes to gods, especially gods from foreign countries like the God of Israel. Always seems to be a mystery. But the part about being saved and love from God, yeah, I'm not confused. I have proof for that. Yes. No, but wait a second. Who created God? No, we cannot understand that. You're trying to understand God from your mundane mind. But wait a second. Are we being saved by God? Yes. I understand that very clearly. Yes. This is sometimes like a child game, you know, and us adults, out of respect for some of these people, we have to be like, well, do you think that you could be mistaken, instead of asking, when did you lose your goddamn mind? Straightforward. You could be absolutely bananas crazy in your head, cuckoo in the head, about having invisible entities as a Lord and Savior from a foreign country. I know, for some of you it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but for some people, They're like, yes, yes, I believe in the God of Israel. He created the universe and then landed in Israel. I don't know. And it sounds perfectly accurate for them. So what is my closing from this presentation? And then I give you my message. A testimony doesn't prove that the experience happened. A person could be lying, mistaken, or deceive. And even if the experience really happened, it doesn't prove that God caused it. So a testimony alone doesn't prove God exists. My message, my humble message for you, believer in invisible entities from foreign countries, is: so why do so many believers say their experience prove that God is real? They call it testimonies. It's because of feelings. There's nothing else. No God involved in this. For the believer, believing that the most powerful being in the universe personally intervene in their life can give them a strong sense of importance, purpose, and relevance. And telling other people about these supposed testimonies can reinforce those feelings. But feeling that an experience proves something is not the same as actually proving it. So let me hear your testimony about the invisible entity made in Israel. I'll be happy to hear your testimony. For anybody that wants to express your disagreement about my views on these beliefs on invisible entities, you can do it through the chats. You can do it through the Discord and have a conversation about this topic. Because in my view, it is a problem for humanity to be believing in invisible entities, spirits, gods, demons. What else? Being involved with sacrifices, blood sacrifices, spiritual wars. Most people still don't understand that they are involved in a type of witchcraft. Think about it. Demons, spirits, sacrifices. This is what you are involved in. Wars, enemies, and you think you're gonna tell someone else how to live their life and try to give moral lessons to other people? Are you absolutely nuts, bananas? What happened to you? Was it worth it? This change that you had in your life, and now you're talking about spiritual wars and blood and bathing yourself in someone else's blood? What the hell happened to you? You're an adult. I think we have to talk. You don't have to grab that link and call me. I don't try to be disrespectful with anybody, but apparently in these times, trying to be honest and transparent, you're gonna offend someone. I don't know. It's my humble opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe you can explain it to me. And then the God of Israel, creator of the universe, revealed himself to me through a little bird singing on my window. A little bird? Really? God is like, And the person is like, oh, what is God saying? What is God saying? God is telling me a message. I have to concentrate. Very, extremely problematic that you as an adult is involved in this crap. How did that happen? You can talk to me. I'm not going to judge. Not too much. Maybe we can find out who did this to you, who lied to you, who gave you this information about some fantastic invisible entity that created the universe and was created, the entity, in a foreign country. Also, we can talk about what persuaded you to believe this person or this book or this story or this priest or this pastor or this friend. Because this information about this God, you're not getting it from God. You're getting it from someone else. Through a book, through some music, through some whatever, is coming from another person, not from a God. Enough with the foolishness and to think that you want to fool other people. No. More and more people are going to be watching these videos. Some people are going to educate themselves and find out that they are involved in a huge scam, in some cult. It's time to wake up. So Javier, what are you talking about? What other people are going to win from me believing in the God of Israel? Your most precious thing that you have in your life. Just that. Your energy. Yeah, I know it sounds quirky. It sounds, that's, what are you talking about? That's the most precious thing you have in your life. You don't know what I'm talking about? Of course you don't know, because you are being occupied, your mind, talking about and focusing yourself on invisible entities that are located outside of time and space. This is my presentation for you, in my humble opinion, trying to make this world a better place. Of course, I don't think I'm going to convince everybody that believing in God is a problem that has to do with you and your feelings. This is not about God. This has nothing to do about God. The belief in God has to do with you and your feelings. You know what I'm talking about when you are by yourself. You're not going to trick me. You're not going to fool me. I know what happens when you are all by yourself. The conversations that you have with yourself. This is not about a God. It's about you and your anxieties, your fears. This is what's going on with you. You know what I'm talking about? Your secret is safe with me, okay? Welcome out of Babylon. NFL music. The guy that single-handedly proved that the God of Israel is the creator of the universe. NFL music, single-handedly. Out of Babylon writes, it is proven that by doing the will of God of Israel, which is love in your belief system, love yourself, love your neighbor. I repeatedly have said to Out of Babylon, it sounds very romantic, not practical. And when it comes to God, I don't know about you, but I don't like to be romantic about it. That could deceive myself, because then I'll be blindly in love with some invisible entity from a foreign country, like the God of Israel. You know, the one that was created, made in Israel. That's why they call it the God of Israel. You still have not figured it out yet? God of Israel? covenant with his people. Wow. You still don't understand it and still don't get it. But it makes sense. Javier, this has nothing to do with a God. I don't care if the God is from Israel. I don't care if the God is from anywhere or other countries. Leave me alone with my Lord and Savior. He makes me feel good, and that's all I want. Go away, stinky waters. There's nothing you're going to tell me that is going to remove this source of feel good that I found. You just want to make me feel bad. That's what you want, Javier. Because you are angry with life and you want to destroy this source of feel good that I found in this powerful, invisible entity from a foreign country. Let's see what NFL Music is writing. I'm probably going to be interrupted a few times. I'm still a little bit working. NFL Music is asking, how would it not be the God from the Bible? NFL Music, how anything is this in this life has to do with the character name God written in a piece of paper. You have a lot of explaining to do. One Big John Lovell, having fun. Welcome to the live stream. Yes, we're talking about the God made in Israel. Out of Babylon, right? God is love and wisdom. Out of Babylon, the character named God of Israel, you think is love and wisdom. But a character cannot be something other than a character on a book. If you think that this character in a book is real, you probably will be better if you provide any evidence for what you're saying. Otherwise, other people could think that you are lying. Probably for your own entertainment or your own emotional stability. NFL Music writes, oh, Romans 1, welcome to the live stream. Always on the vertical live stream. You're always welcome to join the horizontal if you want. There's a little bit more people on the horizontal. So Romans 1 writes, oh, waters, he is a God first for the Jews, then the Gentiles. You get all warm and fuzzy waters doing Satan's work. Romans 1, I think probably you're upset at life. Probably you are anxious. Probably you're fearful. And you need an invisible entity from a foreign country to give meaning to your life. Are you sure I'm the one being deceived by asking questions about your belief on an invisible entity from a foreign country? In this case, the God of the universe is also called the God of Israel. How crazy is that, my friend? You'll figure it out, Romans 1. I trust in you, my friend. Honesty and transparency is gonna come true. Sooner or later, you will find out that you are involved in witchcraft. Remember, bathing yourself in the blood of Christ, who died in a brutal murder, in a human sacrifice to pacify some God from Israel. The whole thing is so screwed up that it's hardly to understand that anybody in the year 2026 think that this whole horrible story of violence and soap opera and spirits and demons is real. Wow. Wow. Oh, man. And I'm not making fun. Imagine. Okay, let's see. NFL Music is writing, why doesn't Allah or any other fake God show himself like the God of the Bible does? NFL Music, neither Allah or the God of the Bible have never ever shown themselves other than a talking burning bush. A talking bush on fire. That was the only real God. But you were not there to see the talking bush on fire. Out of Babylon writes, but the vehicle of searching fire out comes from our bodies navigating the sea of wisdom. The fear of being cold, wanting to cook food, etc., led us to searching out and utilize fire. It is a parable used to condense our greater world truth. And please read the whole comment. It's important. But out of Babylon, I read your comments. It doesn't make sense at all. Because you sound very romantic. Like you grab pieces of information and you put something together, half well put. It doesn't convince me. And I'm trying to understand. It's just like throwing information here and there. Sounds romantic. Nothing practical. I still have to take my garbage out. I still have to go to work tomorrow. You are God, Javier. You are the Lord. You are your creator. I have to take my garbage out. I'll be right back. The Lord of the universe has to take his garbage out and then go to work tomorrow. NFL Music, Allah doesn't perform miracles or cast out demons in the church. NFL Music, imagine the God creator of the universe, the immutable God that doesn't change, that is sitting outside time and space, is coming down to get those demons out. You know, get them out, get them out. Some other part of the universe, God is busy, you know, taking out demons. It's absolutely ridiculous that you fall for this crap. You gotta do better than that in the film music. You gotta do better than that. This is not only to wear a hat, okay? You can also use it for thinking. I think you're using it for a hat. No disrespect. Try to have a little bit of sense of humor. Out of Babylon, Allah and Yahweh are the same. That's the rumor. Out of Babylon also right. It's a parable used to condense her. Oh, I read that already. NFL Music writes, all you have to do is go to a good church to see the God of the universe. A church. That sounds extremely silly. But you seem to be very entertained by these people rolling on the ground and getting their demons out. Have you seen the people like throwing like white saliva out of the mouth and their eyes going like, going up? Man, I've seen them all. All fake. It's something psychological, emotional, but it's awesome for entertainment. And I know, NFL, you're very entertained with these demons. NFL, I don't know if you have figured it out yet, but when you are involved with invisible entities from foreign countries, suddenly, out of nowhere, demons start to show up and spirits. Once you stop believing in invisible entities from foreign countries like the God of Israel, demons no longer show up. No spirit, no sacrifices, no blood, no spiritual wars. Only yourself, your feelings, your honesty, your transparency, and your decency. That's it. No drama mamas from foreign countries. Romans 1 says, oh, it's very real the God of Israel. Saying that an invisible entity from a foreign country is real, you can say it 100 times, it's not gonna make it real. That is, I don't know, that seems to me a little bit childish, that you're gonna keep repeating and repeating over and over again, the God is real, the God is real, the God is real. Maybe you can do the God is real, God is real, God is real. And voila, it comes to reality. No, it's not gonna happen like that. You can do that 100,000 times, whatever you want, many times you want. It's not gonna make it show up suddenly. So we're waiting for anybody to provide any evidence, any piece of evidence, just to see if the God of Israel is real. Maybe it was made up in Israel together with the thousands of gods that were made up at this time. When this God was created. When this God was made up. This God of the Bible was made up for political reasons, for, I don't know, influence other people, try to make other people take some actions, scare them, take advantage of their ignorance. And it's still working thousands of years ago with people that apparently are lazy and don't want to use their mind. Out of Babylon writes, again, you know the truth. The same ones that did the violence in the past is doing it now. US. Out of Babylon, I don't know. That's not my truth. My truth is that my ignorance has got me in trouble many times. So I'm working on fixing that. No more ignorance. Be knowledgeable, that way I can take better decisions and affect my reality in better ways. I don't think that being involved in sacrifices, human sacrifices, blood, wars, killings, spirits, demons, I don't think that's good for me, neither for yourself or anybody on this world. Okay, so NFL Music is saying, explain Daniel Adams casting out demons on video. NFL Music, I have tell you different things before. Apparently, you're not gonna do anything about it. This whole thing is everything is made up. This is done for money. Go follow the money, my friend. Go see the website of this person that is casting out demons and try to understand yourself and figure it out yourself. What is the motivation that this person has to be casting out demons? Probably, I could be wrong. He could be asking for money. Go right now to his website right now and tell me that in some shape or form, he's not trying to collect money. Because the vast majority of people that are doing this ridiculous thing that is supposed to be casting out demons is for the show. And the show gives money. Hey, out of Babylon and Redeem, hold on, man. Hey, out of Babylon, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. Also, I noticed that Redeem also connect. So, what do you think about this testimonies, supposed testimonies out of Babylon?
Testimonies as far as what? I didn't get a chance to catch the very beginning, so I don't know if you posted anything as far as a testimony, but
yeah. So
I'm just here to.
my basic
Go ahead.
message is that most believers give testimonies as somehow or some way proof that God is real. But in my view, in my presentation, I'm saying that this has to do entirely with feelings. Basically, the message that I provided in the presentation says for the believer, believing that the most powerful being in the universe personally intervene in their life can give them a strong sense of importance, purpose, and relevance. And telling other people about these supposed testimonies can reinforce those feelings. But feelings that an experience proves something is not the same as actually proving it.
I mean, you're correct. I mean, God is love, so it deals with feelings. It's a feeling of action. It's a feeling of manifestation. So it is a feeling. The problem is, I can agree with you as well, is that, because people are so deceived about what God is, they believe they have personal experience outside of themselves, because again, there is no sky daddy. We're only dealing with internal issues.
But what you still saying God is love? Why do you say that? Because God, people associate it with an external entity.
Again, no external entity. The problem is that people want to make up excuses as to why they're evil. Again, I explained to you before, I agree with you. There's no sky daddy. There's nobody doing the evil things outside of us. Not the US, but us. We see the same things we see that what was going on in the past. The past said God did it, but we don't see no physical God doing it today. What we see is people doing it. We see people doing the rapes. We see people doing the killings. We see people doing the pedophiles. We see people doing the molestations. We see people doing the murders. We see people doing horrible things to each other. So if the Bible is true, saying that there's nothing new under the sun, that the past is the same reflection of what we see today, then you have to conclude that there's nothing influencing us outside of our own lust for what we want. It's us. The reason this
So,
world is the way it is us, not some God in the past. It's us.
so probably that explains why people find out about this God of the Bible not from the God, but basically from another person.
I mean, that's the way all of it is taught. We come into this world not knowing anything, so everything is taught by the person that raised us, or the streets, or the environment, or the village, or wherever you come from. Everything is taught by your environment. I mean, everybody comes into this world a clean slate. We like a potato, and if you put potato in dirty water, it gets dirty. It tastes dirty. If you put a potato in dirty grease, it takes up the environment of the grease. So that's what it is. You come into this world a clean slate, a clean sponge, not knowing anything, good, evil, not how to walk, not how to talk. You don't know your name. You don't know if you're a boy or a girl. Somebody could call you a duck and you'll believe it because that's all you know. You don't know anything. So
Uh,
everything is taught.
Redeemed in Christ, maybe if you unmute yourself, you would not be calling free speech cancellation here. There's not such thing here in this channel.
Well, there was Clearwater, because when I first came in after the last time we had talked, you had muted me and prevented me from talking.
Yeah, Redeem. I don't know if you were here before when I mentioned this, but I had to protect the server because I was being, I think it's called bombed. Like a bunch of people getting on the Discord and putting videos and audio. So I had to protect it. So for anybody that joins first time, I have to allow you in. Now I don't have to allow you again. You're just allowed to be on the Discord. You're more than welcome. I would not block you, my friend. I disagree with everything you say, but you're still a good human being and respectful. Money Manciel, I know you are. Hold on. I know you are from the Discord, so let me unmute you. And welcome, Money Maciel. In case you want to say anything, you have to unmute yourself. Redeem, what did you ask me?
Well, I was asking you what it means to be a good person.
For me, a good person is someone that is not trying to hurt anybody else, not trying to create drama unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm. Who told
More
you
or
that?
less. I kind of figured it out myself by my own experiences and analyzing other people's experiences.
But the other guest that was on earlier said that we start off as a clean slate and everything that we learn comes from other people. So are you sure that came from yourself, or did that come from somebody else?
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying. I think that we learn things from our own experiences, and we can also take advantage of other people's experiences.
Clear waters. Okay. I have yet to see a baby take care of himself.
Babies can't take care of themselves.
I'm 100% positive if you leave a newborn baby by itself, it's going to die.
100% positive. Newborn, but I'm 100% positive that after you have a baby, meaning after you conceive a baby and that new human being exists, that human being will then go through, down the woman's fallopian tubes and implant in her uterus without, anybody telling that baby how to do that. After that baby does that, the baby will then begin cellular division without anybody telling that baby how to do that. And that baby will grow into being a boy or being a girl without anybody telling the baby how to do that.
I mean, I agree with that as well, but that's just the function of God. You know what I'm saying? Again, God being love and wisdom. I'm talking about after the baby is born. Once the baby is into the world, the world itself, the physical world, the baby comes into here not knowing not knowing anything.
Well, wait a minute. When the baby's conceived, right? When the egg or the ovum meets the spermatozoa, the baby exists in the world then, at that point in time.
Then the baby knows God.
Amen. Praise God.
Again, God is the one overseeing the baby. The baby, from that point to the baby starts to know and develop a sense of self, knows God. He only knows God completely, because without God, the baby's going to die. So from the time he develops a sense of self, the baby is only dependent upon God. From the time of conception to the time he's talking to his mama, he is dependent on God, because we are God.
But yes, out of Babylon, I think you're not aware of that. Redeem, when out of Babylon says taken care of by God, he's not referring by the entity, the invisible entity. He's talking about us.
I know.
Love and wisdom is the purest form of God. So in the womb, there is no physical hands putting the baby together. It is only the purest form of love and wisdom putting the baby together.
So is all love and all wisdom God?
Yes, everything comes from God.
So all wisdom and all love?
All comes from God, and it is all used to teach various things. Do you need to be scolded? Do you need to be corrected? Do you need to be saved? Do you know what I'm saying? So for the various stages of what we need, you gonna eat. So
I disagree with
for those that need, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that, remember, I'm coming from a mindset that all is saved, because God is love. He will save all of mankind. So for those that are under the influences of whatever you believe Satan to be, the purposes for Satan is to teach men what not to do. So this is what we're going through now. This is why we're going through death, because we're learning what not to do, because we are, in fact, children of eternity. We have that's what we are. We are born to live forever.
So you said
we must learn how to live forever together.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it, to learn how to live together forever.
Okay.
And we're doing a horrible job at it right now.
Redeem, I think you're scratching your head right now.
We are doing a horrible job at it right now, and the reason why is because there's people that believe that we're God. There's people that believe there is no God. There's people that believe that there's not a higher power, that there's not a personal God that has a plan for us, that knows what's best for us, that is working for our good, right? And we glorify ourselves. We glorify our own intelligence. We glorify our own love. We glorify our own wisdom. We glorify ourselves, and we glorify this world. We don't glorify God. Right? And that is why we're in this fallen state that we find ourselves in now.
I mean, and most of that I can agree with, but again, you must realize who is God.
I think
So
I don't know if you allow me. I don't know if Redeem understands that when out of Babylon says God, he's not referring to the God of the Bible. For him,
right.
God
No,
is us.
I'm referring to the God of the Bible. I'm just referring to his truest meaning through the parables. I'm referring to the God because that's the only information I have to go on. Remember, I'm just like everybody else. I didn't come into this world with self-knowledge. I came into this world being taught just like everybody else. I explained to you on the earlier podcast that if I grew up in the Middle Eastern country, or if I grew up with parents that taught the Quran, I'll be approaching this whole situation from the Quran right now. I won't be
Yeah.
approaching this situation from the
Interesting.
Bible. I
So
understand these things.
Babylon,
Okay.
one thing I'd point out is that when I first joined, one thing that you were saying, there is no Sky Daddy, there is no personal God,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
the question that you just asked, I think, shows that you don't truly believe that, because you didn't say what is God, you said who is God, as in
Correct.
who is the
Who?
person of God, right?
Who?
So I think that in your heart you know that there is a God and he's a personal God, right? And that there it's a who, right? Not a what, not
But
a was,
Clearwaters, who
not
do
a
you think I
wisdom.
believe God is?
I mean, from your
I
comments, I understand that you believe that God is us.
All right then. So when we look for something outside of ourselves, we demean ourselves. When we put ourselves where we belong, we uplift ourselves. We are God. The only thing we have to do is love the man next to us and respect him. But outside of that, I am free to do whatever I choose and whatever I please. That is the meaning of God. To
Yeah,
navigate this sea of wisdom and
yeah.
knowledge, to do
that's
whatever pleases you.
that's what I understand. Redeem from out of Babylon. I don't agree with what he's saying. I'm always asking questions about his views. And Wendy, welcome to the live stream, and thank you so much for the Yules. Thank you so much, Wendy. Yeah. So in my view, out of Babylon, which on the Discord is Akaya, he has a different view about life and God, and he has apparently, if I understand correctly, you have come up with your own explanation about who God is and who we are,
That
not
reminds me of
I
necessarily.
somebody.
can't say
I'm not
my
sure who.
own. All I can tell you is that I can explain it out of the Bible. I got these out of the same Bible everybody else reads. It's just that my heart is different when I go into the Bible searching for these things. I don't go into the Bible with fear. I go into the Bible just looking for understanding. We all in this mess. We all born, we all live, and we all die. So I don't separate nobody. We all
So
look alike in the grave, and we all look alike when we born.
so
Amen.
let me ask Redeem and also Nick that is on the Discord right now, probably listening to, and out of Babylon, ask you a question. When someone gives a testimony of God, God doing something in their life, how can we determine that they are not lying, that they are not confused, that they're not deceived or mistaken, or if they're being correct? How can we determine that?
Why are you asking him and not me?
I said every
He said everybody.
single yes. Come on,
Okay.
Redeem. Are you trying to
He
lose?
said everybody. He said
Today
everybody.
today you came a little bit defensive. Come on, man.
I would say last time we talked that it was a little. I forgive you, Clearwaters. I forgive you for the last time we talked. But Nick, go ahead, buddy.
All right. Thank you for
I would say
forgiving
that
me.
a person's testimony is specifically for that individual. So my testimony and my walk with Christ will be totally different from somebody else's. It's very
Yeah.
subjective, and I understand Clearwater's point of, trying to take a deep dive, but you can gather some truth in a lot of people's testimonies.
So Nick, if this is something that is personal, my experience with most believers is that they are extremely happy to tell you more than once their testimony and tell everybody their testimonies over and over again. It happens to me all the time in these live streams. So if this is something that's supposed to be personal, why people are telling and screaming their testimonies to other people, especially to unbelievers?
I think you might have misunderstood him, Clearwaters.
It's because they want to be relational. how they are relational with God is they want to be relational with one another. So their testimony affects them, and they want to be relational with you. They want to
So,
share
I
that
have
with
a
you.
quick question though.
yeah, so my view, I mean, that could be someone else's view. My view is that for the believer, believing that the most powerful being in the universe personally intervene in their life can give a believer a strong sense of importance, purpose, and
Hallelujah.
relevance. So maybe
Amen.
people are giving these testimonies for themselves, not for anybody else, because it gives the
Boo.
believer giving the testimony a sense of importance.
Yeah, that happens. You know, Jesus preached against that. You know, Jesus called the Pharisees and the Sadducees out on that, right? So if you were
Mhm.
going to do a deep dive, I would start there, right? Like the people that you're indicting are fallible human beings that call themselves Christians. And you don't know somebody's life. You don't know where somebody is in their walk with faith, their walk with Christ. You know, like we're all human. We all have problems. So, yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it, Clearwaters, that there's Christians out there on your live stream, or you might even know them in person, that they, you know, don't really fully represent what Jesus teaches, but that doesn't negate the teaching of Jesus just because somebody you know is on their walk with Christ and they think of themselves as self-important, right? And they haven't realized, hey, Jesus told me not to do this, right?
Mhm.
Jesus warned me to be careful about falling prey to this type of thinking where I think I'm overly important and I think that I'm following the law perfectly, right? Like the Sadducees and the Pharisees did. So there's teaching there for you, right? And you're assuming that all Christians are this way because you've encountered people online or in your life, but you're failing to recognize the true teachings of the gospel. Clearwaters, when was the last time you read the gospels? Any of them?
Yesterday? The day before
Yesterday.
yesterday? Yes.
What were you reading?
From the internet.
Like, what were you reading in the sense of like, what in the gospels were you reading?
Reading for almost every single live stream that I do, I have to reference something from the Bible.
Amen. So it should be easy then for you to tell me like what you're reading in the Bible right now then, right? Because just before you got on this live stream, you were reading the Bible and you're reading the gospel. So what were you reading? Like, what was the lesson that that Jesus was teaching in the gospel?
Yeah, like I said, almost every live stream, I have to get on the Bible to do some reading. That doesn't mean that I do the reading on every single live stream. And also, I said that last time I read the Bible was either yesterday or the day before yesterday.
No, he's asking what your interpretation is.
Right. What I'm asking you is I understand, Clearwaters, that you're telling me that you do that. Now I'm asking you for you to talk about it on this stream and say, this is what I was reading, right?
If you don't mind, what for? Because the topic of this live stream is our testimonies of God, evidence for God. So it seems to me when someone tells these supposed testimonies about God, I mean, they have to know that the person is opening a can of worms. Because I think that it would be better if you, through changes in your life, someone notice that you live a good life and a good person, and someone comes to you, hey, I always see you happy and, you know, everything run fine in your life. Can you tell me, share with me, why do you live your life like this in a very example, you know, like a sample way? Then the person can give some testimony. But most believers, in my point of view, really, without asking them anybody, they will tell you their testimony. And
Sure. So,
my experience, and one more thing, if you don't mind,
Yeah, I don't. But you did ask me a question of what for, right? And then we changed the subject. So if you'd like me to answer that question of what for, I should have the opportunity to answer it. But at the end of the day, it is your show, right? You don't have a co-host, so.
Yeah, but so what are you asking me? What did I read last time? I read. Let me try to remember. If where we're gonna go with this.
The reason why I'm asking Clearwaters is this, okay? The reason why I'm asking is because, you know, like I said, you were indicting Christians, right? But you're like that's fine. Christians are fallible. Christians are wrong. And in your, you know, monologue that you were giving, you said that, you know, oh, why is everything going on and, you know, great in your life? It doesn't. Things don't go perfect in Christians' lives. I mean, I'm Christian. I'm going through a really difficult time right now, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, okay? So things don't go great. Jesus never promised that, oh, everything's going to be perfect. Everything's going to be cool. Just pray to me, blah, blah, blah. That's not what he said. He said, live your life with me. I'm going to be there with you, right? So the difficulties, the trouble, the tribulations that I have in my life, right? I'm only able to handle them because of Jesus, because he's there with me, because I can turn to him, because I can talk to him, because I can read his word.
Yeah,
that's why it's important, right? That's why it's important. And the reason why I asked you what you're reading, what you were reading in the Bible to prepare for this,
Exodus 32. Exodus 32.
If you would allow me, because
I'm answering your question just for you to know, okay? I answer your question. Exodus okay. 32.
I appreciate. Thank you very much. Okay. So I'll get to that, right? So the reason why this is important, like I said, is because you're indicting Christians and expecting them to be perfect like Jesus, but we're not perfect like Jesus. Jesus is perfect.
I have to interrupt you, Redeem. What part of my presentation did I say that?
You said it when you were talking about the Christians, and you said that, you know, that you would want to see how everything is going perfectly in their life, and that you would want to then ask them, hey, why is everything going perfect in your life?
Yeah, Redeem, so I was giving an example that if someone would give good vibes, you know, or an example life or something that someone else would notice as a good way of living their life. Maybe they're happy, maybe they're always smiling, you know, even with their problems, you know. Someone, hey, why you have problems? Someone would ask that person, hey, I noticed that you have problems, but you confront them with a smile. How do you do that? You know,
Jesus.
Yes, okay, the person can say that, but most believers don't wait for that to happen. They tell you, hey, Jesus is real, God is real. Hey, I didn't even ask you. Why are you telling me this? And you're gonna give me a whole testimony. I didn't even ask you. So now that you gave me your testimony, are you telling the truth or are you lying?
Well, I'm telling the truth, but
or interpolating. There's other.
But
options.
Wait a minute. But hey, wait Robert. A minute. How are you not asking people, Clearwaters? How are you not asking people? You're inviting people to join this channel. You're inviting people to come and talk to you about faith. So you are asking for people to come on. You are asking people to come on and talk about their faith. So
he has never said faith. He said evidence. Always.
Yes, the question is testimonies of God evident? If you allow me, the question is on green. Is the title of the live stream. Are testimonies of God evidence for God?
Clearwaters, I don't join your live stream. I'm not on YouTube. I join your Discord and talk to you.
You know, Redeem, with all due respect, I think probably at least if you can see or watch the presentation, sometimes you can have more information. And probably when you say something, you're not incorrect. Because if you're talking about something that you don't know what we're talking about, you run the risk of being incorrect more than one time, like you have already been.
Well, that's
also, when you're not on his page, you're not trying to engage with the dynamics and the things that he's trying to bring up. You're trying to engage with what you want to engage with and not what the stream was made about.
Correct. Yes. Thank you. That is correct. That is what I'm doing. I'm trying to engage.
Okay, well,
with
And that's a
Clearwater's
dishonest
directly.
approach. Like he's making a proposition on the YouTube page, and he's trying to engage people in that way, and you want to come
Right.
to him and engage him in a totally different way that is
And
not about that subject.
And I'm not allowed to do that. Is that not okay?
It's
I don't
okay.
think that-
Not this.
It's okay, Redeem. I do it because I like to engage in conversations, but you can do it up to a point, my friend. If you're gonna take the whole conversation totally way out of this topic, I mean, I'm gonna stop it.
Okay. I'll talk to you later then, Clearwaters.
All right, thank you, Redeem.
Hey man, didn't mean to jump in like that, but
No
just wanted to
worries.
say-
I thank you for jumping in.
No,
I mean,
it is
it's-
a little weird though to
Hey,
come into
Phantom
this
X.
channel into what they're trying to engage with on a YouTube video and say, yeah, I'm not watching any of that. I'm not engaging with any of that. I mean, if I put a sign up in my front yard, come talk to me about lemonade or whatnot, and people come to me to try to sell me a car, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? That's not what I wanted to engage with. So I don't know what that was a little weird for me. I think it's a little rude in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if
I was going to say it's inconsiderate. like, You've picked a topic. It's yours. It's your Discord server. It's your YouTube channel. And he's coming in saying, I don't care what you want. I don't care what your topic is. I want to talk about what I want to talk about.
It's okay. You know, I also put the topic of this live stream on the Discord. So, I mean, not even taking like 4 seconds to see the title. I put the picture, the image of the topic of this live stream. Hey, Christian Atheism, welcome.
Hi there. Can I add my
Sure, go
little input
ahead.
very quickly? So yeah, specifically on the topic, no, I do not think that testimonies of God is evidence for God's existence. The reason I don't think that is because of what I think, you know, in academia, the general consensus of what we take evidence to be is normally some Bayesian account, which is just like probabilistic, right? So that which increases the likelihood of a proposition being true, we take to be evidence. And so given the fact that we have many different theses that can accommodate the data, for example, it could easily be the case that many other religions, not just the classic Abrahamic ones, but Gnostic or pagan religions, you know, we talk to these people that are influenced by, you know, their beliefs, and they do talk about testimonies of their kind of connections to their personal deities. And if that's the case, and we take that to be evidence, and we take that to increase the probability that their worldview is true, then it would also necessarily entail that it would contradict other worldviews, for example, the Abrahamic religions. So if it's the case that by increasing the probability of those worldviews, you contradict the other ones, even though they equally expect the data, then you haven't actually increased any hypothesis. All you've done is found yourself in a myriad of contradictions. So that's why I wouldn't take it to be data. And you can also have an atheist hypothesis, right? Now, obviously, very clear evolutionary accounts of why people would have these testimonies. We can even grant that the testimonies are completely honest. I completely believe that most people have these. I don't want to sound mean, but I have to use the word delusion at being an atheist. That's equally expected on an atheistic worldview. So that's why I wouldn't take it to be evidence.
Yeah, I'd love to get some pushback on that a little bit, I'll be honest with you, because on the Bayesian standard of evidence, like all of these things that increase the probability, it is generally seen as evidence. Is it good enough evidence? I would say no, because there's so many counterfactuals, and all of these other religions have these kind of experiential claims as well. But like all of it, these things are increasing the probability of it. Does it move the needle very much? No, I wouldn't say that even gets us into the 1% range, especially whenever that proposition is not congruent with all of the other thousands of different propositions of different gods and stuff. And all of those have testimonies, or multiple of those have testimonies of personal experiences as well. So I would say in the strictest sense, we might consider it, especially for the Bayesian model, we might consider it evidence, but it doesn't move the needle in any meaningful way. And any standard that we drop that we would allow it to move the needle, it's going to move the needle for all these other claims and all these other gods as well.
I agree with that, Robert.
Yeah, can I ask Robert a question, because he might know more about this than me? I was under the impression that for something to constitute as increasing the probability of a given hypothesis being the case, it would have to be more expected on that thesis in regards to its negation. So that's what it would mean to be a non-trivial increase of probability. Was that not the case?
Well,
are you just saying that Bayesian evidence is just that which increases the probability of something being the case?
that which increases the probability. And so multiple people, if there are multiple people saying that they've seen or witnessed or experienced the same thing, just describing the same sensory perception can to some degree increase the probability. I would say that it's increasing the probability of another thing greater, and that's we have similar neural networks, and that we have similar experiences, and that it's especially related to our conscious states of mind. So if we're and regardless of the god, so there's a commonality that you can see between someone that's praying to Dionysus and to praying to Jesus and feels these ecstatic experiences or other experiences. I would say it's more likely, it's proving that, or it's weight or more evidence for that than it is for that god, that particular god. But yeah, I think all of it is moving the needle. I don't think it moves it a lot. And I think the problem is mainly counter-state. Like if you say, okay, that this is evidence for this God, then all of these other ones are evidence, people that say they felt or saw the Prophet Muhammad in their dreams and this, that, and the other.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I accept that. I think that's good pushback.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea, Christian, atheism, or anybody on the Discord, how can we determine if a person giving a testimony is not either lying, confused, deceived or mistaken, or maybe telling the truth about the God being real? Do you guys have any way of determining this?
I'm sure there's many ways. One I would perhaps suggest is a pretty basic one, which is just whether or not their kind of testimony entails kind of like modal contradictions. An example of that would be like, does it like we have such high priors on our kind of commitment to laws of physics or laws of logic. If it's the case that any of their testimony, contradicts kind of laws of physics or laws of logic, then we have more certainty in those things being the case than whatever they're asserting to be true. So that's one way to do it, but I'm sure someone else has a more sophisticated answer.
Yeah, I'm not sure that makes it less likely to be true or the case, but it might not make it less likely that they believe it or hold the proposition. So they may still hold it to be the case, but they don't understand the physics. They don't understand the contradictory nature of the statement. They don't understand the different laws of logic that they might be breaking with the proposition. So, but they simply just hold the proposition to be true. So I think there's a distinction between what they should reasonably know is not true, and a distinction between what they hold as true. I go back to to some sense, the established maxim that Abraham Lincoln said, that I believe it's an established maxim in morals: he that asserts a thing to be true without knowing it to be true is guilty of falsehood, and the accidental truth of its assertion does not justify or excuse him. I think if people used a standard like that and they said, stop saying that things were true that they don't have any epistemological standard to know that it was true, that would be the best idea. But a lot of people say things that are true that they think it's true, and they don't really hold a standard to it.
Yesterday we had a caller that was giving a testimony, and if I'm not mistaken, he says something about a plane ticket materializing in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do, and I called him a dishonest on that. I said, I do believe that you are not telling the truth on that, and I'm always super slow to use the word liar, but I don't believe that was true. I believe that he part of him knows that section of it wasn't true. I think, but can I know that in any sense? No.
I don't think he even tried to defend it.
Well, he can't. I mean, there's no way that he could demonstrate that, nor could he even demonstrate that he believes that,
I think if we start asking questions, if we start digging, asking questions, probably, I don't know, the conversation will take another route. I think that testimony was sounded a little bit fantastic. Not only God apparently was giving him one message, two messages, but constantly giving different messages. I mean, I don't respect. That was not, just listening mainly.
So there's this known phenomenon, though, that we learned primarily with the split brain test with patients that had what we call split brain syndrome, where they have a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. And some of the information that's taken in by the right hemisphere is taken in vocally, but it's taken in written literature, something on the left hemisphere. I may have them backwards, but what happens is one hemisphere of the brain can't process writing. And so when you hold up writing to that in split brain patients, if they have that eye closed and they see the writing, they don't understand what the writing means. It doesn't mean anything to them. But the other brain, the other side of the brain, can understand what the writing does. And what we did in one of the experiments is we held up this card to an individual that their side of the brain that can read the cue card, and it said walk to the door. So they read walk to the door, and they stood up and they walked over to the door. And after they walked over to the door, they were asked the question, why did you walk over to the door? And they made up a reason as to why they walked over to the door. They was like, well, I was feeling cold. So what happened is, are they lying? Or is their brain just trying to feel in the process of why it is that they walked over to the door? They did an action that with one side of their brain that they don't know why they did the action, and then they're post-justifying it. And this is a super interesting study with the brain, because I think what's going on is that people might sometimes be making this tremendous claims, like that these amazing magical things happened, and maybe something happened that they're trying to post-justify. I don't totally know what's going on here, but I do think that the brain, you can do actions and give an explanation as to why you did that, or why you picked the color blue, or why you did this, and not truly know. You give an explanation, but it's not truly why you were motivated to do that. You may think it is.
Do you think that some of these believers expressing their, I don't know, supernatural experience, they're being honest and genuine?
Most of the time I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, just because it's easier. And I think most people try to be honest, but it's like when we do this, you go back to a biblical claim, right? Like Paul saw Jesus. Like, was Paul being nefarious here? And he knew that he was going to rise his status as a convert from a very prominent Jewish leader, and he was going to be a big part of this movement. Or when the book of Acts described him falling off of his horse and striking his head and went blind for like a week, did he have a heavy brain concussion and he saw something during this? So we have both possibilities inside of the text. That both possibilities is that he's completely lying, or in the other possibilities, he struck his head so hard that he couldn't see for like a week. So it's possible that he hallucinated. I don't know which one is the case.
If anybody could be honestly telling the story or testimony of what happened to them, and they think that their experience comes from God. I mean, if you start asking questions and, digging a little bit, if they start getting defensive, or they try to avoid a question, or try to gain control of the conversation and take it somewhere else, that's in my case when I start doubting their honesty about whatever they're telling about their testimony. And that's why I dare sometimes to tell people that I think they're lying. Probably put a little pressure for them to provide some information about how can we tell if they're telling the truth or not. I mean, if some people get uncomfortable by me asking questions, I think probably giving supposed testimonies to people in public places might not be the best idea. In my view, I don't know, my opinion. There's someone, no look pass on the Discord. I mean, if you wanna have an opinion or say something, just let me know who you are on the live stream, because we're live streaming right now on YouTube. Go ahead. I think it was Robert. You were going to say something?
No, it was
Phantom.
Yeah.
You were going to say something. Someone was going to say something. I interrupted.
If I was going to say something, it was a while ago, and I don't remember it.
It was Atheism. Christina Atheism.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Hi, so I'm sure you guys are all aware of Alex O'Connor. He did a UK tour in the UK, the UK tour in the UK. And I went to see him, and a lot of Christians turned up and kind of preached at him and gave them their own personal testimonies about kind of their experiences of Christ coming to them, not only in dreams, but also what they claim to be waking life. And I remember Alex said something like, he said something along the lines of how I understand how that might be so convincing for them, and how he truly believes them. but the nature of evidence is that it has to be one, falsifiable, and it has to be convincing to people beyond the person that's had the testimony. And that's why I think what's so difficult about. Okay, so I guess personally, I guess logically you'd have to say that if Christ did appear to me, I should have more. What's the word here? I should have more rational reliance on the idea that maybe I'm hallucinating. That sounds much more realistic than the Christ actually coming in flesh to me personally. But I do think that, if I looked into the cloud and it said, Christian atheism, you should believe in the Christian God, that personally for me would be enough, even if no one else saw it, to believe that Christianity was true. But obviously, we can't establish that as evidence. That testimony cannot be evidence, even if it's convincing to me personally. So I know that was kind of like a ramble, but do you kind of get what I'm saying and Alex's point?
Yeah, I would agree
I do.
with that.
I just think
Robert.
there's criterias like that we normally use. Like when we're talking about the definition of atheism, our definition of evidence is different than like the bar or criteria. Like secondhand testimony, or what we generally refer to as hearsay in courts of law, like these are technically evidence, and in some cases they can be admitted as evidence. But generally, the bar of courtrooms won't even allow secondhand. They want firsthand, and they want to be able to cross-examine. So when we're talking about hearsay laws, they don't allow these secondaries to even be. So there's different. I would say there's a criteria of evidence, and we just have different levels of it.
Okay, can I ask you about that, Robert? I've got a question about that.
Sure.
Are you aware of this kind of popular apologetic that's run by Christians called presuppositionalism?
Sure. Yeah.
Right, and you know how they kind of start off on the offset about its whole thing is that it's a worldview comparison, right? And I think by saying it's a worldview comparison, they've already smuggled in a fallacious view of evidence, because you can overfit the data such that your hypothesis sounds more likely. An example of that would be like the tooth fairy stealing, a phone stealing fairy, right? And your phone goes missing. The reality being something that's quite unlikely. If it was the case that a homeless man came into your house and stole your phone, if that was true, that is like a 1 in how many chances. Whereas if the hypothesis is something like, well, there's a phone stealing fairy that comes around and will 100% steal your phone, on those two hypotheses, the first one, if it was the case that was true, it's 100% going to happen. That's why it's way more likely. But we know for a fact that can't exist. Do you understand what I'm kind of saying about cashing out evidence that way? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. The thing with presuppositionalism, though, and like all of epistemological philosophy would say that right out the gate, like it's a problem because it's a violation of logical fallacies. Like that is a begging the question fallacy. It just definitionally is a begging the question fallacy. So to start off with any presupposition that is not gained through learned experience and interaction is problematic.
Yeah.
We don't have inferences to start the proposition. We don't have particular intakes on it. We just have to assume the framework holistically. That's nonsense.
What about properly basic beliefs, Robert? I don't think I've ever heard you talk about those.
What now?
Properly basic beliefs.
Properly basic beliefs. That's news to me.
Oh, okay. I don't really buy it.
I don't want to hijack his stream on it, but yeah, I'd love to know about it though.
But it's it's something that Plantinga put out, and it's basically some kind of axiom that he thinks is self-evident or something, and therefore it's rational to hold, and he uses that to say God, he uses, or some people use the existence of God as a properly basic belief, therefore you don't need any justification. Here's some examples of properly basic beliefs. The external world, other minds, things like that. He would call those are properly basic beliefs.
Well, I dare I say this is an argument almost between like G.E. Moore and what's the guy that did the refutation of G.E. Moore's appeal to the stone kind of. I don't know. there's this thing, and I don't know that it's classically called a logical fallacy, but there's this appeal to intuition that many scholars have talked about. Immanuel Kant's done it, and others.
Oh yeah.
That we kind of appeal to intuition, where there's an intuition, you're like, this just must be the case that there's these things, you know. I've never found appeals to intuition compelling.
Me neither.
I do have something to say about that, because I do think Plantinga's what was the phrase he used? Properly basic beliefs.
Yeah.
I haven't read Plantinga beyond a few passages on the evolutionary argument against naturalism, but it seems to me as if he's just kind of extending this classic problem of epistemic skepticism. You know, that's known as either the Agrippa's trilemma or the Munchausen's trilemma. You know, the view that foundationalism will necessarily be embedded on an assumption that's either circular, dogmatic, or an infinite regress. So I think, is it what Plantinga is saying that so my argument for the existence of any form of ontology is going to be grounded on either a circular position, infinite regress, or a dogmatic position. And so for him, the dogmatic position is just going to be the existence of God, and then we see what kind of ontology we get as a consequence of that. So I guess Robert,
well, first of all, I think this conversation is leaving the crowd behind, and the point of these streams, if I'm to be honest, is not that. So I always, because I do host myself, I try to be very wary of that, and I don't want to leave the crowd behind. So if we're talking about Plantinga, we're going to need to give an explanation of that if that's the direction you want to go, Javier. Otherwise, we'll try to stay on topic.
Yeah, I mean, if I notice that we're moving away from the main topic, I'll let you know. Sometimes this information that you guys provide, not even myself understand, but I pick up some of it. And from the last thing that Christian atheism said, you lost me there, man.
I'm sorry.
Well, let me give you. Okay.
If you go ahead, Robert. Yes, if you can answer.
So to tell you where Plantinga's fantastic argument kind of came from, that the Christian world absolutely loved, is Plantinga made an argument about if our tools of logic and reason that we rely on in our brain, if they're all constructed from evolutionary processes, then they are rewarding what is pragmatic and not necessarily what is true. They're not rewarding specifically what is truth. Our brains didn't evolve to find things that are true, but those things that are pragmatic. And subsequently, that they can't be trusted to be found truth is the basic version of Plantinga's idea. And apparently, and this is more ideals of Plantinga, I don't know if it was in the same book, I'm not familiar with it, but he, what's his name? Phantom is suggesting that he's got other conceptions about having to do presuppositionalism. And with presuppositionalism, or any form of presuppositionalism, is that we have to assume first that God must exist for logic to be coherent, for all of these different things to be coherent. And I don't know how, like, this argument that Phantom's talking about cashes out, but that's the basics. They can give you any more feel in on what the items that they're talking about.
I don't think properly basic belief is necessarily going with presuppositionalism. He was just saying that God, the existence of God, is a properly basic belief.
So did he give an example of another properly basic belief?
And who was saying this? And who was saying this?
Well, I was just giving you. I just gave you some examples, like the external world is a properly basic belief. Other minds is a properly basic belief. Like those are things that, like, you kind of just, they're grounded in your experience. They're not inferred or whatever.
Yeah, but like philosophy still argues with them. I think the majority of people subscribe to some, material external thing. But I mean, this was the whole conversation with idealism versus, So this is not even settled in philosophy. Like, there's different positions. I think the majority of people holds that there's an external physical world, and most of us are not, sophist. So yeah, I think this is the majority view. But like, as it to be some settled thing in philosophy, hell no.
Professor Hissel, welcome to the live stream. David Martinez, caller, was off topic. I guess that's reference to Redeem. Most likely. I want to mention some of the things that I hear from believers. Sometimes they say things like God gave me a new heart. I also hear God revealed himself to me. I don't know if this revealed himself. They're talking about the improper way or proper way, but anyways, God show me something. God proved himself to me. God saved me from XYZ. And of course, the new one that I heard yesterday, God miraculously provided an airplane ticket. I don't know if you guys have heard
Solipsism, not
other
sophist.
stories.
I'm sorry.
Say that again.
I said sophist earlier. I meant solipsism.
I was going to say I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a quick question though,
Sure.
especially for these Christians that read the Bible. For all these so-called testimonies, are they still sinners?
Are there still what?
Are they still
Sinners.
so-called sinners?
Sinners.
Diva says they are.
Sinners.
Diva says he is,
Sinners.
but he doesn't sin. He says
Oh,
he's sure that he
sinners.
sinned some, but he doesn't know when. He can't think of when he sinned last. But he
'Cause,
still,
you know, your
knows that
Bible,
he sins.
your Bible says God doesn't hear a sinner's prayer. So for all these sinners that's talking about these testimonies of how Jesus came in their life and helped them, are you sure?
I think that will be a question for believers in the God of Israel.
Because we are told to pray in silence. We are told to go inside your own mind and figure this out, not to pray to something outside. So are you sure who you praying to? Like you just said, somebody said they prayed to Jesus and materialized a plane ticket. So I'm sure if he can do it, there's somebody out here in this world trying his hardest, praying to God, that same God he prayed to, for that same ticket or something similar, and he ain't got jack. So that God picks and chooses.
If you allow me for a second, Ragnar Roblog, thank you for confirming you are already unmuted on Discord, so you can unmute yourself anytime you want.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. I had to run Robbie back.
All right. We'll be here.
Hey, can I give a little
Thanks for
pushback on the
coming.
last thing that was said?
Sure, go ahead, Robert.
I wanted to give a pushback on the premise that you built, that God doesn't hear sinners. This that was said in John was not Jesus talking, it was a blind man. He wasn't a prophet, he wasn't supposed to be a representative. So the term that you see in John 9 says that that God doesn't listen to sinners. This isn't doctorial. This is a blind man speaking in the text in John 9:31.
Right now, Professor Hazel is asking if everyone on panel is an atheist. No, Professor Hazel, I don't consider myself an atheist. And I think out of Babylon, which is Ikaya, is not an atheist either. Probably Christian atheism is. But no, out of Babylon, sometimes I think he's a believer. Sometimes I think he's an unbeliever. I don't know. Sometimes it changes, transforms.
No, I'm a
He's better than
believer.
that.
It's just
You
that
do.
I'm like you all. I do not believe in the BS that the religions teach.
Yeah,
Man,
I am
but
like
that-
you all. That's all.
Out of Babylon, that answer that you gave, redeem. I mean, you really got me confused there, man.
And what answer was that?
That you were telling him that you were referring to the God of the Bible.
Yes, the God of the Bible.
So,
I mean, in Genesis, what did it tell you? It said in Genesis that the finished product of God was that he made man in the image of God.
so
So that means when you go into the mirror, you should see God's image.
are we God, or there's a God out there?
No, we are God. God is love and wisdom. How do you define wisdom?
So there's no God out there.
Outside of us.
No. So
You keep saying no like you believe in a God.
no. I'm trying to confirm your answer that
Oh.
no, there's no external God. It's just us.
No external God. It's just us.
So
There is no secret ingredient.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that important, but I just for myself, you told Redeem that you were referring to the God of the Bible. Do you think that the God of
Yes.
the Bible is talking about us?
Yes, but it's done so in parables. It is written in such a way so that you are compelled to look outside of yourself, because if they really told you the truth, they would never give you the Bible.
So you think that
Who
the
wrote the
Bible
Bible?
is making it into an external God?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
it's by design.
This is the first time I understand your view.
I'm starting to. I will not in any sense say that I understand it, but I'm getting two different primary tones. I'm getting almost a Gnostic tone and a UU tone that I'm constantly getting from him. And it's almost a Gnostic mix of the UU, like almost a demiurge. Maybe that's
Something
too far.
similar to that, but again,
Yeah.
even all of that stuff, I don't get into all these names of the demiurge. I just stick with what I see.
Okay.
I don't want to confuse the common man, but other than what I see. And what I see is no external thing outside of ourselves. I never came out my house and something has grabbed me by the collar and put me in the cage, and I'm saying, wait a minute, what are you doing? And for him, it might as well be mooing and oinking because he don't understand what I'm saying, and he just treat me like I've never seen a human being treated like that. So and this is not from the Bible, this is my personal experience, and all the times I've stepped out my house, I've never seen anything snatch a human being up like we would do a cat or a dog or a horse or anything of that nature. So by experience, I have to conclude that there's nothing outside of myself that is grander on this earth that from which I can see that is presented.
Sure. So if we're God out of Babylon, in your opinion, where do we come from?
We come from eternal. We have always existed. We just don't remember because we're in this form right now of forgetfulness. And like I told you, this form right now is to learn what not to do.
So what happens if someone's die? What happens to that person?
This form got here, I believe, by us. Like I told you, there's nothing outside. Like I'm in my car right now. I know a car was made by a man. I know my shirt was made by a man. I know my shoes was made by a man. I know my socks. The ground that the street that I walk on was made by a man. Everything that I see in my immediate view was made by a man. So when I get to now, who made the trees and who made the birds, I don't want to get to something outside of that. You see what I'm saying? Because by experience, I've seen that we've made everything else. So why would I stop saying that I might not have remembered, but we had some hand in making everything that we see.
So how do you explain?
Just don't remember.
How do you explain us being on this little tiny microscopic atomic world compared to the universe?
Well, like I told you, I in my studies and my experience, space is fake, and I would much rather believe that there's infinite land than there is infinite space. I believe that they're lying to us on that accord. They got us again looking at something outside of ourselves instead of just looking at where we're at. Where we're at is so much more fascinating if we have the keys to go there. But we are so locked and confined behind what we believe and what we're taught that we don't do anything else.
Out of Babylon, I mean, I'm entertaining a little bit what you're saying. I just see a lot of problematic. For example, this would mean that there's a network of all kinds of professional in agreement to fool other people. Like scientific discoveries, people looking through telescopes, are they all lying?
I won't say they again, we're living in a digital world. I mean, when you buy a telescope today, you're probably looking at a digital image. I don't know. I don't own a telescope. But what I'm saying is, for people who have owned telescopes, who have purchased telescopes and cameras before they discontinued these type of cameras, you can see what the stars and stuff are really made of. And it's not made of what NASA gives you the pictures of. It looks like a pool. It looks like water is floating through it. So, like I say, everything is BS and a lie, but you have to seek these things out for yourself. And I think our history is more in tune to kind of like the Matrix movie, more so than what y'all think or what y'all believe that they teach us in history. All of that stuff is make believe. I
You're
think the
doing
real
so good,
history is
man.
way. I think see we because you never heard this, but you got to look. I'll put it to you this way: Have you seen a channel called or listened to a channel called My Lunch Break?
Not myself, no.
Now, in this channel, it's not about God or anything, but again, his whole focus is on explaining a lot of the old buildings around the world and who really made these. Because we don't have no historical records as to who made these buildings. You can't tell me we put up a palace in 1800 in less than a year with no power tools. These things should common sense to you make no sense to you. Because we can look at the
So
power
appeal to
tools of the
common
day.
sense. So this is what we
I'm
were
just
talking about earlier.
because common sense is
I,
the basic wisdom and knowledge that every man should have. Like,
I,
are you moving? I
Aroma,
shouldn't have to go to a book. This is what I mean
Babylon,
by common sense.
if you don't mind, if you can drop that YouTube channel or video on the Discord,
YouTube
if you don't mind, yes, so I can take a look at it. Move, I got this. Right, I used to be an atheist until I had supernatural events started happening. 30 years later, I have dozens of healing testimonies. One made the newspaper. Whoa. Move, I got this. Man, can you let us know what are these healings you're talking about? I mean, if you don't mind, I'm going to be asking a few questions. In this case, I'm asking you for testimony or to share your experience. Apparently, you believe when you say supernatural that these events were caused by the God of the Bible, also known as the God of Israel. There's a Discord link at the bottom of the screen. Move, I got this, and also on the chat. You can click on that link, and now that'll take you to the Discord when you where you can have a conversation via voice. Move, I got this also writes, first one, I broke an ankle with torn ligaments and tendons, instantly healed. Move, I got this. I personally got a dislocated ankle myself. It's extremely painful to the point that I had to be operated by doctors to put my foot back in place. Now, yours was broken, which I think is extremely similar. I actually think, and people say that dislocated feels more painful than broken. If that heal instantly, do you have any proof of this? Move, I got this. Man, fever instantly healed?
Yeah, fever. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if tendons that tear away from the connective part, if they tear the bone support of it off, because they have come off. And my understanding is that they can't re-heal, but tears inside of the tendons and whatnot, apparently they can heal over time. That's extremely common that they heal. As far as a fever, like there's 100% no way to validate this. I mean, what is he going to do? Give a timestamp on his digital thermometer 2 times in a row? I mean, I don't know how you would even demonstrate that. It's not like an X-ray or something would do it.
Yeah.
Well, like Robert, like every fever, they don't ever go away. Like you have those forever. So, like if this fever went away, that's like
no, but he said
right?
instantly. I mean, he said instantly, so I'm thinking at least in a 2 or 3 minute time. I assume that we're talking about a 3-degree drop at least over 2 minutes, right? I mean, I'm just putting frivolous numbers up here, but I would assume at least a 3 or 4 degree drop over 2 minutes to be even thought of as an instant fever drop.
Move, I got this. When I got my ankle dislocated, and then for a second time, also had the same problem playing football. The first one was when I rolled down the stairs with a bicycle, being stupid. my ankle ended up looking at a 90-degree angle. That's why they could not pull it and just put it back together. They had to put me and operate me. But I could probably talk to the hospital or go through my records, and I would show the x-rays tests that they were done. But in your case, you had a miracle, supernatural event happen, and you have absolutely nothing to provide evidence. Sounds to me that you're making this stuff up. Oh, the supernatural events continue? Move, I got this right. The one that I made the news was as a teen in a car accident. Was given 24 hours before they were going to pull the plug. She wasn't instantly healed, but the doctors call it a miracle.
The doctors? What the hell you need doctors for? I'm just kidding. But no,
doctors call lots of things miracles. They don't really mean that. They just mean they don't.
Yeah, that's cool. But I just wanted to, I wanted to let y'all know I was looking at the fastest type of fever breaks, and there's a bunch of different type of fever breaks that break fairly short. So there's a stomach virus one that's the second shortest one. It's like 12 to 24 hours. But the fastest known fever break is a fever break caused from dehydration, where you have heat stress or whatnot, and then you drink water, and then your fever breaks like pretty quickly. It's from dehydration. You just didn't drink. And then you drink some water, and your blood cells and everything gets hydrated, and the fever comes down. It's pretty quick.
So, Move, I got this right. I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to open it. That's very cute. Move, I got this. Very romantic. Go ahead.
It's so amazing how often that is the response. Like, I can't prove it to you. You gotta believe. Just open up your mind and think about it.
You're a rock star, man. That's very cute. I just love when you said that.
So on the screen right now, I have the message that I gave on the presentation that I gave at the beginning. On what is my take on why people are giving these testimonies. It's about feelings. And what I wrote was, for the believer, believing that the most powerful being in the universe personally intervene in their life can give them a strong sense of importance, purpose, and relevance. And telling other people about these supposed testimonies can reinforce those feelings. But feeling that an experience proves something is not the same as actually proving it. So, Move, I got this. It seems to me, in my point of view, I could be wrong, that you're making this stuff up. Or some of this stuff up. Or maybe you're just mistaken or confused. I don't think anything that you're saying prove that a God or any God is real, especially the God made in Israel. Professor Hazel writes, yeah, I have histamine level drops and inflammation ceased almost immediately. Yeah, you can do it taking some medicine. Made the fever go away almost immediately. Move, I got this. I noticed that you use the word supernatural as something that is fantastic. This is the problem, Move, I got this. When you share this information, I think by now, you know that people are going to ask you questions about something that you are referring to as being supernatural, and you don't have anything ready. It's been what, 30 years, and you still don't have anything ready to prove anything? I mean, don't blame anybody that could think that you're just making this stuff up, because
let me throw it in.
You have no way of proving it. Go ahead, Robert.
Just to throw an interjection, I encourage anybody to look this also to look up and see if any Muslims have made these same types of claims, and then look at a list of a few of the names of the Muslims and the claims that they made. So just on a quick one, like the car wrecks, the drop from fevers, there's a bunch of different Muslims that made this claim that Allah, saved them. Let's see, Omar Suleiman is an American Muslim that says has shared several testimonies of different Muslims who have walked away from total vehicle disasters and said that Allah saved them. Mohammed Jihab, public speaker, has mentioned near-death experiences, including accidents, and attributed his survival to Allah. So there's all of these other religions that are like, oh yes, these things happened to me and Allah saved me too. So either one or two things are happening here, or I guess three things. Either Allah or their God is saving them for believing this religion and he's favored of them, or that these things are just happening to them also, and when they make it through it, they attribute it to Allah. Or I guess the third, you could write it off to some evil spirit, but that spirit still seems to be looking out for them and saving them, right?
I think that move, I got this. Maybe you're mistaken because the creator of the universe, the supernatural God, is Chulum. So maybe you're mistaken and you are confused about gods. Or maybe you're just upset with Chulum for an unknown reason. Are you upset with Chulum? Maybe the problem is that you have never prayed to Chulum or considered Chulum. I don't know.
Oh, where did Atheism go? He must have left. He must have missed it.
He left about 10 minutes ago. Said he'll be back on next stream. I just had a thought though, based on what you said, Robert. So if there's this evil demon that's causing everyone to like succeed, to lead them away from, say, the true religion, then what we really need to do to identify the true religion is look for the religion that nothing ever goes right for its adherents. That's the true.
Yeah, that's the true. Well, I mean, if you look at the Israel religion, like in the Old Testament, like every battle they ever had, they lost, right? Damn near it, anyway. Like they got conquered by everyone that ever come along, So, I mean, they were definitely the downtrodden, right? But they were, 2% of the global population. They just didn't have the numbers, man.
Well, they also didn't have iron chariots.
This too. It's an inside joke. Sorry about that, Javier. There's a Bible verse that says that they drove out the inhabitants of this land. I can't remember what book it's in. It's in Samuel, I think. But they could not drive out the inhabitants of another land because they had iron chariots. But the text before it said they drove them out because they had God on their side. But then the following text says that they couldn't drive them out because they had iron chariots. And it's like, what, you had God on your side. Like, what's the problem with iron chariots? Who cares?
Okay. I was reading Move, I got this comments. Something interesting happened to me today. Robert, Phantom X, and anybody that have listened to me talking about Chulum, coming up with the topic for this live stream. Something quite interesting happened today that left me thinking. I was thinking in my head and also exchanging information with ChatGPT. And then I was writing something that I was going to present tonight about Chulum. And then I'm like, you know what? Just for playing around in my head as a joke, I was like, man, I cannot pray to Chulum. He's not going to listen to me. He's not going to grant me whatever I would ask. And the next thing that comes to my head is, I don't have to. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Javier, okay. I think it's time to take a break.
Thinking
So,
about this too much, man. You're gonna go
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So I play alone, so you don't have to. All right, what the hell does that mean? You already have it in you. I'm like, okay, is that why people claim other gods are doing miracles for them? Is yes, exactly. That's the reason why. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna talk about children tonight.
I wanted to, if you don't mind, I'd like to address a little comment that just got made on here. Professor Hizzle apparently made a comment about it being some religion being trauma on children, and Move I Got This said that I laugh when atheists claim that religion is trauma on kids, because that it definitely is not true. Kids find it boring. The first time I went to church as a kid, I found it boring. And I think we're referring to primarily when you were telling children that they were born sinful, that they were born wrong, that they were born judged, and that they have to be forgiven for the things that they've done wrong. Otherwise they're going to burn in hell. And these types of things, and creating this kind of angst and this anxiety, I don't think this is helpful. I think most of psychology doesn't think these types of things are healthy for children to be worried about this divine overseer that watches them when they sleep or when they touch the wee-wee. I just don't think it's helpful.
There's that. There's also the whole phenomenon of you can't trust yourself. Like you can't trust your own reasoning because there's this other thing that's like smarter than you, and they have a better plan for you. And even if it doesn't appear like they're doing anything, they are. You can't trust your own perceptions of that. Like that's pretty.
Your own faculties. Yep.
Yeah.
Lean not on your own understanding is the basis. They use these verses. I mean, we've seen this argued all the way back to early church formers. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's not Calvin. It's the Lutheran founder, but he used this terminology that that reason is the enemy of faith, that we must pluck out the eye of reason, and terminology like this, that we can't lean on our own understanding to the degree that we can't trust anything that we say. We can only trust the Bible and the Holy Word of God. Anything that's is in contradiction to that, you can't trust it. This is nonsense. This is folly.
So believing in gods could be a problem for humanity. In the case of presenting this problem, this information about people being sinners or teaching children that they are sinners, that they're dirty, that they're broken. I agree with Robert, it's not good for children or humanity at all. Go ahead.
There's also the narrative of it. Like, you've got this this supernatural being that's out there to get you, and the persecution complex because the world hates you. Like, all of this is pretty traumatic to a child.
Absolutely. I don't think it does any good for a children to adopt or learn this information from adults that, in my view, are broken probably emotionally or psychologically, and they want to pass on these problems to children. I don't think it's good. I think it's a form of abuse, in my humble opinion. There's an interesting conversation going on right now between Professor Hizzle and Move I Got This. I think Professor Hizzle is giving a free education to Move I Got This.
Yeah, he does that. Gives free educations.
And very respectfully.
No Look Pass. He came in and then never spoke. No Look Pass. You still here?
He wrote something about having some problem with the microphone. I don't know. He fixed it already.
Yeah, he did. He spoke after that just briefly. He's like, he's got to go do something. He'll be right back.
So, Robert and Phantom X, now you guys are here. My comment about Chuno, I want to go back for a moment because, I mean, I was joking at the moment when I was like, it was like an internal joke. But what if us human beings already have something that is in us and is producing these experiences to people that are confusing them with something external from themselves when it's internal? And because people learn to define these things as something external, they don't understand that this is something internal. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
totally understand what you're saying. The conversation with the internal conscious self, like you can have a dialogue with, and you can even anthropomorphize that internal self, or you could think of it in terms of the internal self that you want to be, and having a conversation with that kind of moral agent of what you want to be, the representative of, like, should I do this? And then that almost an internal dialogue with the better decision maker of yourself, and you can anthropomorphize them, I think, into a character. It's like, what would Jesus do, or what would my grandmother do, kind of turns into what would the best version of myself do, or you can turn that into some other god.
I think most of the problems come when people explain these experiences with something outside of themselves. I think it makes the person weak. I'm not talking in a derogative way. I think this is done purposely. Move I Got This is asking me, what numbers do you have on traumatized children and the problems they go through? Move I Got This. If you tell a child that they are dirty, that they are less, that they are not a good person and they need a savior, do you really need numbers for this? I think only a person that is under a doctrine or is brainwashed will be asking numbers for this. This is very easily proven.
I don't mind giving some numbers, but they're going to be in specific categories, though. So I'll give you some numbers.
Give it a try.
Here's a number. Most recent national numbers from the CDC 2003, the YRBS program, serious suicidal thoughts or suicide tendencies, specifically of the LGBTQ students and teenagers. Their rate of suicide is, 41% higher than a non-homosexual. And many of these students, and I'm sorry, I'm looking for the numbers on how many of these students cite that they don't feel accepted by churches or different groups. But I think we all know that these LGBT students that are committing suicides at tremendously higher rates, they are being condemned with some kind of biblical text that who they are is wrong, that it's sinful, that it's not good, and the suicide rates on them are astronomically high. And for anyone to pretend like that the church and religious doctrine is not a massive contributor and easily the largest contributor to the suicidal rate, you are absolutely just full of yourself. These people, these teenagers that are gay and whatnot, they feel condemned, they feel wrong, they feel dirty for who they are, and they're made to do so by church and church doctrines, and the suicide rates show it.
Move I Got This is asking Clearwaters, then prove it. I'll make a deal with you, Move I Got This. Prove that the God of the Bible, also known as God of Israel, is real and exists, and then I'll prove it just for you.
Like, that's such a weird ask to me. Like, it's like they're denying, hey, if you tell someone you're a dirty dog every day of their life, that it won't have any effect on them. It just won't. And it's like, I mean, obviously it will. We know this. But somehow when it's religion saying it, well, that's not really going to cause any problems. You have to actually show that it's specifically when religion, that religion is not different than what you would say in every other situation.
So, but I just want to be clear on the suicide rates here. Of people who actually attempted suicide, whether they succeeded or not, the distinction between youth that identifies as straight and homosexual is a difference between 6% of straight and 22% of LGBT youth that attempted suicide in the 2003 report. So attempted suicides, not just suicidal tendencies or thoughts of suicides, but attempted suicides are astronomically higher amongst LGBT. And if we did not have this doctorial standard from religion that was saying, oh, what you're doing is wrong, you liking somebody that's of a different sex or whatnot, if this wasn't prevalent, we wouldn't have these suicide rates. Let's be honest.
Move I got this is asking or writing, when you die, no, I'm sorry, going back, just gaslighting, no numbers, and pointing to sin destruction as the problem. When you die, it will be proven. Everyone is going to heaven. So no numbers, just kids with mental illness have a higher suicide rate. You know, Move I got this. You saying these things coming from a person that believes in demons, spirits, invisible entities. You are involved with sacrifices and gods made in Israel. I could say very easily that you're absolutely out of your goddamn mind, but I don't talk like that, so I don't say those things. But it crosses my mind. So I don't think you're in any position to tell anybody or be asking for evidence or anything like that, in my humble opinion. Unkalong Chig, if you don't mind, please write on the Discord. What is your
we
username?
know him. I can vouch for him, and that's yeah.
All right.
Ankalaganchik is Russian, though he denies it sometimes. He pretends otherwise.
All right, you're muted.
Who, me? I don't deny that I'm Russian.
What's up, Anka?
Never denied it in my life. Nothing much. It's just 5 in the morning, so I hopped in, listened to what you're saying, and then go sleep.
Hey, привет.
Привет, привет.
Говорю чуть-чуть по-русски. No, just that. Just that. Хорошо.
Хорошо. Бабушка, сука, блядь, балалайка. Yes? This type of Russian, you know?
No, I just know привет and самолет and a few words.
Самолет? That's an interesting word to know.
Yes, I hope it's nothing bad. Samaliot, I think, is airplane.
It's just airplane, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah. You
just
scared me
really
for a
random
second.
word to know.
Super random airplane.
Well, it's important to know if you're trying to get out of Russia.
Yeah, I agree. Are you being a Ankala Gonchik?
Yeah, you can just call me Anka. It's okay.
Anka, okay. Are you a believer or unbeliever?
I'm an atheist.
Atheist.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's a super genius, by the way. Move. I got this as a super genius. This
Super genius about invisible entities. I agree.
Yeah.
Ad hominem.
Yeah, I don't know who he said gave an ad hominem, but.
Speaking. Unless it's out of Babylon.
Bingo, you are God. Man, out of Babylon, every time you tell me that, it reminds me that I have to take out the garbage. I don't feel like a God. I don't know. You have something there, but makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Please drop that video link or channel that you mentioned. I'm interested in finding out a little bit more about what you were saying. Where are you getting this information from? A little bit of digging.
Also, Move, I got this. I mean, I don't think we should just glaze over the fact that he just said that compared LGBT to mental illness. I don't think we should just glaze over that fact. That is
What's
not
that?
the consensus. Yeah, well, his comments were that this is the same with mental illness or drug use about homosexuality. I'm sorry, you got to read between the lines a little bit because he didn't outright say it. But whenever I raised the problem of LGBT and suicide rates, he says this is associated with mental illness and that this is in the same way that drug use or other things. So when I said the 22% compared to the 6% of homosexuality is committing suicide, like as if this is a mental illness. There's no medical board in any major nation in the world that thinks that this is a mental illness. It's just not classified that way. This is a religious dogma that you think that.
I also have entertained the thought that people that believe in invisible entities from foreign countries could have a mental illness. So maybe I got this, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. But I also think the same thing from believers in this type of beliefs. Invisible beings, invisible entities. You're no different from Christian, Islam, Voodoo, Santeria. They all have to do with the esoterics. They all have to do with, how do you call, man, I forgot that word. You know, when they play the drums, they have ceremonies and stuff like that. They do it in all religions, including Christianity. Again, that is my view and my opinion. I think that Mufai got this. I was saying that if he has been experiencing miracles or supernatural events for the past 30 years, I think by now he would have something to demonstrate these supernatural events. But just like anybody else saying something about a supernatural experience, no evidence. What a coincidence. Just words that probably make the person feel good and nothing of value for anybody else. Just a person saying these things that could also be taken as someone saying these things because they have a mental problem. What do you think about that move? I got this. I got a little bit quiet.
Anymore. He hasn't typed in a minute. I think he fully climaxed while he was saying I'm a super genius, and once he climaxed, he probably went to sleep. It's just my theory.
Or maybe he's like, this is not the channel for me. I don't know. These people are asking too many questions. They're pushing back. They're asking me for proof. I cannot convince them of my God and Savior of Israel. I think that calling the God of Israel, probably is a way for people to understand that most likely this God is not real. Why people don't understand it? The God of Israel, come on. The immutable, not bound by time, out of space and time, is the God of Israel. Could be a way to tell that the God maybe is not real. I don't know. What do you guys think? No, Luke, pass. Go ahead.
Yeah, have you ever asked them if they know the difference between belief and a fact?
Oh, you're talking about a live stream that I make. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was something about that, not understanding the difference between a belief and a fact.
Right. So
good point.
Basically, when I talk with these kind of people, that's like my first go-to, because I think most people do not really understand the difference between. It's actually not a fact; it's a established fact. So once it's kind of hard to get them to understand what is a belief and what is an established fact. And then after they understand what is an established fact and a belief, then you can bring in the God and Jesus and make them see is Jesus a established fact or a belief? They're going to have to go with belief because it's not established fact. The same thing with God. And then once they reach that point that they understand that is, it's just a belief, like you can believe anything, right? It's just a belief like Santa Claus or whatever, right? And normally from there, I take them to, is it a rational belief or irrational belief? And neither Jesus or any God are rational belief. And that's basically when most of the time I lose them. But yeah, that has been my experience dealing with the Christians and many other religions.
I was gonna ask you how's the conversation have been, because in my experience, the moment I start asking a person, something like, hey, this is something that you believe, they start going by, no, this is something that I know. Or
Right,
even if I ask if this is a belief of a fact, that they say, no, this God is real and I know it. So in my case,
it needs to be proven.
Yeah, of course. What I'm trying to say is that some people, some believers, they know where the conversation is gonna go.
Right.
And they try to do these Jedi techniques of trying to redirect the conversation somewhere else where you're gonna head a dead end.
But I always bring them back to, also, why do you say I believe in God? They always say I believe in God, I believe in Jesus. They are using the qualifier believe. They're not conscious about it. That the word belief means it's not proven. Otherwise, they will default to,
I gotta go, y'all.
I know God.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, so, I remember that day that I made that presentation about beliefs and not being facts, not the same thing. I mean, once I'm done with the presentation, the first thing that I read is someone writing on the chat, God is real.
Right.
So,
you can just tell them only in your head.
I don't know, at this, after doing all these live streams, I mean, it's, sometimes I run out of patience. I don't even engage in these conversations. I just tell people that the only reason they're saying these things is because of their feelings. There's nothing else. It's my point of view that people believe in gods because of how they feel about their feelings. There's nothing to do about a God.
Well, I would say 99% of them is just, it's passed down from generation to generation. So they grew up, with indoctrination and that kind of stuff. So that's the normal for them to think that it is real. But I mean, you would never change somebody out of, one conversation. But my goal is always just do enough just to plant a seed of a little doubt. Because eventually they will start asking questions. And once they start asking questions, it's like a house of cards. It all falls down.
Have you had any luck, like a little bit of changing a believer into probably doubting?
Oh, many times.
Really?
Yeah. And even like the most concrete case is my wife.
What religion?
It used to be Mormon.
Mormon.
Yeah.
Were you a believer yourself before?
I was raised Catholic and stuff, but when I would turn 14, and I started having some critical thinking skills and start kind of like analyzing what I was being taught and everything else, and came to the conclusion that nothing made sense. It would, like, none of it made sense, and I was like, I just can't follow this because it just makes zero sense. None of it makes any sense to me. And my mom was always like big into religion and stuff, but she never pushed me to continue going. When the moment I told her I'm not going, it's all made up. Nothing makes sense. And she just told me, well, I'm not gonna force you, but if you ever want to come back, the door is always gonna be closed. And that was it. Since then, I was 14, and then since then I have never, went back to because the more I study and stuff, it got even worse. But yeah, that has been kind of my story.
No, something similar happened to me. I always spent a lot of time at church in different groups, like the praying group, the youth group. I help at the mass. Of course, I was also involved in the choir, different stuff. When I started reading the Bible by myself, I'm like, man, wait a second. I've never heard this at any of the groups or at the mass. And I started reading about the violence and stuff like that. I'm like, wait a second, no. Something is going on here. I always doubted, but it was not until I started reading the Bible, I'm like, man, now I'm starting to understand what's going on here. So I see the beliefs in God today as a problem that we have as humanity. And I'm not trying to, convert people into not believing, but asking questions. I think that the whole thing is made up. I think that people just reading about the God of the Bible being the God of Israel should be telling enough that most likely this God is not real. It was invented in Israel by the time when there were making up gods in the thousands for anything, political reasons, for war, for storms, for anything. I mean, for butterflies, for birds, whatever. So I think that most people believe in the God of the Bible out of ignorance, or because it was passed down by family, or I don't know, maybe a spouse believes and they were by default engaged in the belief. So many different reasons, unfortunately.
Right. But if you ask them, I would say 99% of them would say I was raised that way, right? Because if they are born most like you and I, our parents were God and Jesus, like since we are born every single day, and they hammer into your head, right? So it's something that is really hard to come out of. But yeah, it's one of the latest things I would like to, debate about with these Christians. Is I just like to look at them with I just tell them there is no proof that Jesus even existed. And that gets them going, because that's something like you really are touching a nerve by saying there is no proof that he existed. They come out with all this, this so-called evidence or whatever. And so that's when the conversation turns into more explaining the difference between evidence and proof, right? Actually, proof is made of evidence, but if you don't have enough evidence, you don't have a proof, right? So that goes in there, and that's something that I like to plant that seed for them to eventually they will get to the point that they understand that Jesus' existence was never proven. Nobody has ever proven Jesus' existence. They fall into this whole all the historians, they like to say this, all the historians agree that Jesus existed.
The 500 witnesses.
Well, but they always go, the number one comeback is what they hear in church or whatever, which is all the historians agree that Jesus existed, right? But once you start breaking that up, I ask questions. What do you mean by all historians? Right, because all historians, history itself in studies a big field. It has like 290 different fields inside of it, categories inside of history. So are you telling me that on those 290 different categories, all those people that are called historians agree that Jesus existed? So that is not actual at all. It comes down to history of religion, and that's just one category out of the 290. So when you lower it down to that way, that they start seeing, okay, what I was repeating, because most of the time I'm like, do you even look into the things that you are saying? Have you ever looked it up? because you are just repeating what you hear, but you never look into what is actually the claim. Because you say all historians, it should include all historians, not just a small group out of one category. And then
Luke, it sounds to me that you have been very lucky. You have been talking to very respectful believers. I haven't had that much luck.
Oh yeah,
especially the ones from Islam. Some of them have got a little bit aggressive.
Well, I haven't really live in the U.S., so I mostly deal with Christians. But yeah, so I've been have many conversations to where I'm able to break it all down, right? Because once you start breaking things down and explaining what they're actually saying, you are able to put in their heads that what they were saying was actually not true. Right.
One thing that I noticed, Luke Pass, is that I have come to the point that I even tell believers, I agree with you. Jesus could be a real person. Probably he was a real person. But now, what evidence is that he was God?
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I draw the line in square on Jesus was never proven, and that's the reality, and that's where I pull all my money on. Mm-hmm. And I even tell them, because you got those knuckleheads that won't give in or whatever, I simply tell them, okay, I will give you $1 million if you can prove that Jesus existed. Go ahead, prove it. You will be the first person in history in this planet that can prove that Jesus existed. In fact, nobody else did. I will give you $1 million. Go ahead, prove it. And they will never be able to. It's because the evidence is just not there. That's why, when they talk about these historians and stuff that I was telling you about, you heard that before, and I break it down that it's just one category out of 290 or so, and then that one category, if you really think about it, is made of who goes into college to study Christianity. What kind of people does that? Do the atheists do that? Do the Muslims do that? No, they do not. People that go in to study Christianity religion, they're all Christians. And not only that, the colleges themselves request that you do like a confessional, and they confess that you are a Christian, and we follow all the Christians, whatever. So the people that study, these historians that you are talking about, are Christians themselves. Of course, they're going to agree that Jesus existed, but not even them say that Jesus is proven to have existed. They say probably. They use the qualifier probably existed. His existence is down to a probability. It's more like a maybe, based only on the evidence. So therefore, if all these Christians, they are the ones that study this and only come down, can go as far of maybe existed, does that mean it's proven? Does that mean it's proven that it existed? Or it's not?
There's a viewer right now that wrote TXDAB. Welcome to the live stream. TXDAB write, unbelief is the opposite of faith. But would you tell TXDAB, Anka, or No Luke Pass, what would you say to a comment like that?
From my point of view, I have no need for belief. I have zero need for belief at all. It's either I know humanity as a whole knows, or we don't, and we work towards getting there. But belief to me, that's nothing.
Hello, Judia. Welcome to the live stream. So what are you saying, No Luke Pass, that you don't need a God in your life?
I don't need any belief. Like, belief itself is useless.
So what would you think another person would hang on to a belief without proof?
Well, you can only believe, right? For example, believe is, we go back to the established fact or believe, right? You can only believe in something that is not proven. Because you can also believe in something that is a fact as well. So that's why it's established fact is the one. For example, water. Nobody says, I believe water exists. It's an established fact, right? But you say, I believe in Jesus because it's not an established fact. So you need belief. You need the word belief, the qualified belief for Jesus, but you don't need the word belief for water.
So probably that's why they called it a belief and not a no. I know.
Right.
They called it I believe.
Right.
And this is what you were saying at the beginning, that people confuse a belief with a fact.
Right, because they are told from since they are born, right, to believe in this thing when there is nothing there.
Faith, some people say, and I agree with this definition, faith is believing in something without evidence. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's the definition of it.
Why would people be proud of that?
You can have faith on anything. Like you can believe in anything. You can believe there are dragons in another galaxy, or there are monkeys underneath your bed. I believe it does nothing to me. It's just a belief.
So someone can have faith in fairies.
Right.
Interesting.
They can believe in fairies. They can have God fairies. It's all in their heads.
In their heads and in their hearts, because it seems to me that this has to do a lot with emotionality and not a real God. Hersey98, welcome to the live stream. Hersey98 writes, we all took the mark of the beast according to Out of Babylon. So we're lost. Out of Babylon, he repeats that a lot. Hey, dude, you moved to the horizontal. Welcome. Out of Babylon, he joins a lot the live streams, and he has his own view about God, which is not the normal believer in the God of the Bible. Out of Babylon thinks that we are God. Kind of interesting conversation with him.
If maybe he's Mormon, because Mormons, I
don't know.
They, if you study Mormon, I believe this is something I think of. They think that anybody can be a god, and they go up, into the heavens or whatever, beyond, like you are a god in there too.
I think that, I don't know. Out of Babylon has like pieces of information that he have put together something. It's interesting. He thinks that we are God and there's not an external God. But anyways, Hersey98 also writes, Hersey98 is bringing up something that she picked up from a book. I don't know, copy pasting stuff from a book. I don't know, maybe it's a way of proving something. I don't know. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the proof of things not seen. Proving something that is not seen. Like I can prove Wi-Fi. Is that having faith? We cannot see Wi-Fi, but I can prove it by using it. I don't know. It sounds to me problematic. Here say Out of Babylon writes, all will be saved. Again, we are of those that need to be taught what not to do. No one here is doing what God tells them to do.
Yeah, that's classic Christian. Because it's like they have this need to be saved. Like if you look at it at the religious people, they have, because they need something to be scared of, right? That's basically how religion controls people by fear mongering into you need to be saved. You need to behave here. If you look into history, back in the day when Rome and everything, when they blended religion with government, look at those days. They had the game complete rigged for the population because we as the government make the laws and we control what you do with the laws. If you break the laws, right, we put you in jail, we punish you. But we have this extra card that is called God, which is watching you 24/7. And then if we don't catch you, he will catch you. And then you will end up in hell and all this other stuff. Right? So they use that fear to control the people. And as a government, what else you want? You control both. And not only that, as a religion, you got the churches where people go and confess.
Like I used to do, you used to do, and myself used to do, Catholic Church.
Right. So think about if you were the mastermind behind that. You are controlling these people. You give them all these rules, all these laws, and then if they mess up, you tell them you come here and you confess. You understand? And then the church used to have a lot of power back in those days too.
I'm gonna tell you something about that. Let me verse 98 right to out of Babylon. Well, that goes against the scriptures. I'm not interested. Verse 98. You're basically telling out of Babylon you're not a follower of someone else's view on life. You're not a follower of a doctrine, and that's why you're not interested. I think it would be better in life, verse 98, to be a leader and not a follower, especially a follower of a harmful doctrine. In my view, no look pass. I think that there's something about us human beings that we are ignoring. Probably it was done on purpose. It was taking the knowledge out of ourselves and put it into some invisible entity, very well hidden somewhere outside of time and space. Because apparently someone in this life has some information that made us human beings powerful in a way. I think that everything that people report as being supernatural is something that is innate in us human beings. Having change of hearts, feelings, or whatever is already in us. So I'm trying to bring awareness to the problematic of believing in invisible entities and bringing the conversation back to the human being. I think it's worth it to talk about the human being and how the human being operates, in the sense that we use three main tools to live as human beings. We gather information through our mind. We got invisible data, it's called thoughts. We use this data or information and we use the power, something that we have in us, an energy that is called feel. And we got that data, we use that feel, and we bring this invisibility, this information into reality with this feel power. And how that process takes place by people moving from a negative feel state into a positive feel state. Yes, I'm talking about like electricity. And that's how we create this magic of living life. This is something that needs to be talked about and probably more well understood, because this process explains why us human beings end up believing in invisible entities, especially invisible entities from foreign countries, like the God of Israel.
Right, but if I always go back to history and stuff, because if you look into the human experience as history, the need for a God has pretty much always been present. Like back in the day, they used to think the sun was a god. Like even before, the thunder was gods and all the stuff, right? So even the Egyptian people So there was multiple gods, and the sun was a god, and all the stuff. And as humanity, as us as a species, keep progressing and finding out and explaining more things, all those gods kept kind of like moving the goalposts. They start moving and moving and moving. Like back in early humanity, I used to think that the gods were in the woods, and then humans were to the woods, and the gods were not there. And then they used to think that the gods were in the ocean. They went to the ocean, the god wasn't there. It was in the mountain. They went to the mountain, it wasn't there. That kind of stuff. And then it was the sun, and then it was the universe. It's always moving the goalpost to. But that just comes natural as us as Homo sapiens. Like our species has always have like a need for the God for whatever reason.
No, Luke, my view is that for some reason that I cannot explain, we human beings come with these pre-programs. We are normally by default in a bit of a negative feel state. What do I mean by that? If you don't do something in this life that creates motion, you're going to start dying at that moment. You're going to go into a depression, and something negative is going to happen, because you need to constantly moving into a positive feel state. For those of you that don't know what I mean by a positive feel state, I'm talking about pleasure. We are pre-programmed to avoid pain and move towards pleasure. And that's how we live our lives with everything that we do, from waking up in the morning to going to bed at night.
I know, I agree.
Yeah, so people believing in gods, especially when you grow as an adult, maybe when you're a kid, you're not thinking about your mortality. But as you grow older and older, you're starting to worry about what's going to happen with you after you die. So you're not going to get pleasure from your spouse, from your dog, from your work. Probably you're going to look into gods, maybe the God of Israel that is offering to provide you with eternal life if you obey him. So it makes sense that you will find value in the data that you're getting from the book. You see the value because you find yourself in a negative feel state, worry about your mortality. You find value in the information and you take action on this information, and voila, you believe in the God of Israel.
Right. It's a form of coping with reality, right? Because it's hard to accept nobody in the history of this planet has ever come back from there to tell us what is on the other side. What we can observe from all these years is once we die, that's it. Lights goes out, nothing else happens. There is nothing. There's nothing after that we have done like millions, I don't know how many tests or whatever, trying to figure out what happens after, and we have never figured it out. And so it's hard for us to accept, but that's reality, right? And so it's a lot easier to cope and try to believe that there is a God and that you will have eternal life and all that stuff, more when you were told from childhood.
Yeah, and you use the word cope. I think it's in a way it's a coping mechanism. You believe in the God, and right now you start feeling good about your mortality, and you haven't been dead yet.
Right. Exactly.
You haven't been given eternal life
it
yet.
It gives you,
the feel good,
peace of mind that it will continue.
Yes,
it's scary to think that you will to exist and that's it. So that's hard to accept. So it's a lot easier. It's a good coping mechanism to just say, I die, and if I behave well in this life, I will have a nice life after. When if you look at it, for example, like to put as an example, the Egyptian, right? They mummy themselves. They used to have an afterlife. They had all of these You know, the whole civilization believe that there was an afterlife. They believe making themselves money, and they needed all this, all this stuff to go to the afterlife and whatever.
Mm.
And look at them now. We find them, and there is no afterlife for them.
Mm.
Right? There is nothing there. So the whole civilization, the whole period of time, they all believe on that.
Right.
And here we are now, taking them out of their things, and they're still there, and there was no afterlife for them.
Interesting.
Right. So
Sorry
that's
to interrupt. I want to circle back on a couple topics, and then I'm gonna go sleep because it's 6 in the morning for me.
Wow. Go ahead, Anka. Yes.
First of all, unbelief is not opposite of faith, because faith is just pretending to know something that you don't actually know. That's like the most working definition of faith that I found so far, and it's working in like everything. So I don't know why would we use anything else. And unbelief is not that. So yeah, it's not the opposite of that. That first thing. Second thing, it's I find it really beautiful, your thing. You said it a couple times already about the God of Israel, like how if it's just God of basically one nation, like it's not really a God, right? Or something along those lines.
Yes.
And I think you can go even deeper. I think you can say if your God have history and he changed over time, that he is not actually a real God. Because Christian God before was God of Israel, before he was one of the gods of different tribes of Jewish tribes, right? He had before he became Yahweh as we know him today, he was actually two gods. He was the god El, and he was actually the Yahweh, the storm god, and he had a wife that is nowhere nowhere to be seen. Where did she go? Like all this stuff. So it's different. I think it's different pronunciations in different cultures, but it's Asherah in Russian. So like I don't know, or Asherah. I heard also. Yeah, it's different ways to pronounce her name.
So basically, the immutable God that doesn't change his mind many times.
Not even he changed his mind, because we can see in the Bible how he changed his mind. He changed his substance. He changed what he is. Like the God who doesn't change changed like many times throughout history. Yeah, and he was a physical God for sure, because people in the Bible saw his feats and they wrestled with him and all this stuff, and now he's like transcendent and whatever, and not even physical. So yeah, like if your God has history, he's not actually a real God. He's just a made-up character. Like that's it.
And it's an invisible being from Israel.
Now he's kind of not even from Israel, because now like people say that like KJV Bible is the best Bible, and like Jesus was speaking English or something.
Right. Good point. Yes.
So like he's not even God of Israel anymore. He just like some rando.
You know, sometimes when I hear this stuff, or even when I say them myself, it's hard for me to keep a straight face. I have to laugh because some of this stuff is just laughable. It's
really weird.
It's unbelievable for me that in the era of technological advances and AI, year 2026, people still believe in invisible entities from foreign countries.
Do you know this picture of some tribe from Amazon trying to like shoot bows into a helicopter?
Yes. I know
That's
what you're talking
how
about.
like and I really like this comparison. I showed it to the Robert the other day. I showed him two pictures. The picture of this Amazonian man with a bow trying to shoot a helicopter on one photo, and another photo is a photo from the space shuttle, the last that were circling around the moon, and they had a photo of a woman who was on board, and she like looking in a window of a rocket and seeing the Earth. And it's like it's completely mind-blowing. We have this all technological progress, and believers on the other end believe that like man was made from like dust and clay, and the like bats are birds, and like donkeys can talk, and the earth is flat, like all this stuff.
And a burning bush can speak.
Yeah, burning bush, yeah, for sure.
It talks. Man, we only have 10 more minutes until we're done with this live stream. There's some of the... Thank you so much, Anka. Man, it's 6 o'clock on your side of the world.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm gonna go sleep right now, so you can finish
All right.
and talk to all these funny believers.
Thank you, Anka. So hopefully you'll join us next time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. I'll join the other day.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Have
Bye-bye.
fun.
So I noticed that TX Tab was writing a message, says, so is you cannot see electricity, it doesn't exist. TX Tab, I can use my multimeter or voltmeter and measure electricity. But we know that electricity exists. Oh, we have some understanding of electricity. No, Luke Pass, you want to say something before we reach the end of the live stream? Do you want to say something?
No, I mean, well, like that question that you and Anka were just saying, like, it's hard to believe 2026, and then people still believe, right? But a lot has to do, like what we said, about indoctrination, right? So also that, believe it or not, believing like all this stuff is part of evolution in terms of, because we evolve. If you think about it, we have like this need to be approved by our parents. I don't know if you ever thought about that. Like deep down, everybody has like this need to have their parents' approval, and that is part of evolution, because the kids that listen to their parents survive more than the ones that didn't. So that is something that we have inside of us as well.
Yeah, I think that goes back to what I said about field states. When we're children and we're young, we don't have a lot of information about life, so that makes us feel insecure. So it moves us farther away into a negative field state. So we hang on to our parents to try to move ourselves into a positive field state.
Right. But if you go look into the connection between evolution and religion, and how we as humans have this need to get our parents' approval, and our parents are telling us God and Jesus 24/7, and not also that all their actions that we observe from childhood, they all follow the same, right? So that is hard to break even in 2026, but there is also another correlation between education levels and belief. And the higher ups that you're going from school diploma, college, PhDs, and all the stuff, the higher up you go, the less people believe. More the people had more critical thinking, and like it was this survey of the National Science Association, which are the top of the scientists in the USA. And out of them, only 7% believe in God. The rest of them didn't believe. And it's always, if you look at the population, is as education goes up, belief in religion and stuff goes down. So there is a relationship there too, where at least the people are educated, the more they believe.
That's a good point. So education can contribute to people understanding that these things that we're living or experiencing has nothing to do with God's.
Right. More like it goes back to my first point. Like they don't even understand the difference between an established fact and a belief.
Good point.
Right.
Great point. No, Luke Bass, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully this is not the last time you call us. Please join us again anytime. I'm going to be doing another live stream tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Is that your time right now?
It's 5 p.m. in Hawaii.
Wow. How nice. It's 10 o'clock in the evening right now. So thank you so much, Luke Bass. Now you don't have, I don't have to unmute you again. You're unmuted. You're accepted in the Discord. So thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, my friend. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Out of Babylon, for being on the live stream and for providing information also on the Discord with that conversation. Thank you, TXDAB. We don't agree on anything, but I do appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by and expressing your views and your feelings and your questions and, you know, participating in this conversation. Thank you so much. NFL Music, also thank you. Thank you, Professor Hazel. Anka, hopefully is sleeping by now. Thank you, everybody, for participating in this live stream. Judy, I don't know if she's still there. Romans 1, Robert, Phantom X. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. And I'll see you again tomorrow with another topic. Have a great one.